Antonia, inspiring as usual. Our next speaker was on strike on Thursday alongside hundreds of thousands of other teachers across the country. We'll be on strike again on Tuesday. The fight goes on in education. Jenny Sutton from the NEU.
Well, thanks everybody, and it's a great privilege to be here with this wonderful platform of trade unionists and class fighters. How many teachers have we got here today? We've got a handful of teachers, brilliant. How many people here have been to school? Brilliant. Okay, so hopefully you are all on our side, I'm sure you are. And on Tuesday we will start our 6th day of strike action. And that won't be the last, that's for sure. We are striking over pay. We're demanding an above inflation pay rise. We've had 23% cuts in our pay in real terms since 2010, and we've fallen about 15% behind other graduate professions. But you ask most teachers why they're on strike, and actually pay isn't the first issue. They say that we are striking for funding for education. We are striking because our schools are in crisis and the situation cannot go on as it is now. We were offered by the government 4.5% pay, but that was going to be unfunded. And we know that in my school, the principal said that had we accepted the 4.5%, he would have had to have found 3 redundancies. That's in one school. Schools across the country, if we had accepted the derisory pay offer that was given to us to the government, we would have lost teaching assistants, support staff, teachers. Our children would have suffered, so we couldn't do it. And in fact, 98% of us rejected the pay offer, more than had actually rejected. Who've got kids at school will know that our schools are absolutely in crisis. The DFE said that there is a critical risk of school buildings collapsing. Vacancies for teachers are 93% higher than they were in 2019, and 1 in 4 teachers are leaving the profession within 2 years, which means that most of you, if you've got kids at school, your kids are going to be taught by non-specialists. You're going to have people like me who failed their O-level maths first time round back many a decade ago, teaching maths. I mean, and that's what's going on in our schools. It's make do and mend. It's cobbling together. But this is in public schools. This, of course, is not going on in the private schools. This is in the schools that most of our kids go to. It is an absolute scandal. We've got 30% of kids leaving school without maths and English GCSE, the lowest literacy and numeracy rates in the OECD. Absolute scandal. And support for kids has been cut to the bone. If you're a child with special needs now, then unless you've got parents who are prepared to actually take legal action, your chances of getting the support you need are next to nothing. We've got teaching assistants earning less than the minimum wage if you look at it across the whole year. That's why we are on strike. And we have to recognise that the mental health support that we're lacking in schools now is indicative of this wider social crisis that unites us all on this table. We have record levels of our students going through mental health crisis, and that's because of the circumstances that the Tories have deliberately imposed through 13 years of austerity. We've got kids in our school who literally do not have a bed to sleep on. They are sleeping on blankets on the floor. We've got many families using food banks. We've got children who come to school without proper coats. We went as the NEU, the last strike day we had, myself and Christian, the president, and another teacher from Bexhill, sorry, I can't remember the name of the other teachers, it's going around. We went to see Sally Ann Hart, our local MP. to put to her the case for school funding. It's Sally Ann heartless, Sally Ann useless. One of the things that she said to us was that the reason why our schools are being starved of funds is because the government are having to spend money to stop the small votes. We maintained our composure, but that's the kind of poisonous scapegoating that means that the fight against racism is absolutely central to our fight as trade unionists. We know that the real villain is the 13 years of austerity, where the government have organised a system where our money, our taxpayers' money, is being sucked out of public services and in private corporations, and that money is going to dividends for shareholders and is being stashed in tax havens. Our public services are being starved and are continuing to be starved. And when people say, look, everybody's suffering from pay cuts, you teachers are relatively well paid, what are you complaining about? The critical issue for us is that we are a strong union, and I think that we have an obligation as a strong union to set the bar for all workers. We have to fight. Because if we win our fight, that will embolden other groups of workers, that will have an impact across the public services, it will have an impact across the working class. And that is why we have an absolute responsibility as one of the strongest unions to mobilise our members and to say that we deserve a pay rise, but more importantly, our communities deserve decent public services. The last thing I want to say is that for us this is a fight for the future, for our kids, because we know that post-Brexit, the government's strategy is to create an environment in the UK that encourages overseas investment by business. And what do they want to encourage overseas investment? They want a low-wage economy where the unions have been pacified and where the Googles and the Amazons and the multinational corporations can make massive profits on our low wages. We want our kids to see that as trade unionists, we can fight for decent pay, but we can fight for dignity at work, no matter what kind of work you do. Whether you're a cleaner, a dustbin worker, whether you're a shopkeeper, whatever work you do, we deserve dignity, we deserve decent pay, we deserve decent public services. And this strike, we're not going to give up. The NEU has recruited 50,000 teachers since we announced strike action. Young teachers are coming into our union because they want to fight for their communities. And the brilliant thing is that it was announced yesterday, we are reballoting, this time, not just the NEU going for strike action, but all the education unions together, the NEU, which is our sister teachers union, the Association of School and College Leaders, and the National Association of Head Teachers. We are all balloting together for better funding for schools, for strike action to fight for funding for our schools. So that's the future, isn't it? It's solidarity, the unions together, public sector unions together, dealing with the issue, blaming the people that are really to blame, which is Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak, the people up the top, not blaming the desperate people coming in small boats who are actually becoming part of our community, and we welcome them in all our schools. But together we are stronger, together we are going to fight, and we're going to say to this government, we deserve better, our communities deserve better. The workers united will never be defeated.